Hi everyone, welcome to Northern Zen Yoga. My name is Sandra. I know we got a couple of minutes before it's actually 1:30, but I thought I would just check in because I saw there's a few of you there that are waiting in the waiting room. So how are you this afternoon? How is the world where you are? I haven't had anybody sign in and say hi. So if you are not watching on your TV and it's a big deal to try to just do a little bit of chatting on the chat area, please tell me who you are and where you are watching from around the world. We have people from all over the world come onto this live class, including the UK, England, and Spain. And we also have people from Canada and the US, both from the east side and the west side of the continent. So I see that Kathleen is there. Hi, Kate. Hi, Kate. How you doing? It's good to see you're with us today and at a more reasonable time for you than usual. Anybody else there that can just check in and say hi? Please do so. Oh, a whole bunch of you dropped out. I hope you come back. Make sure you have, we're doing yin today, so make sure you have your yin equipment. You should have a bolster if you've got one or something equivalent, a nice thick blanket you can roll up and use, maybe a couple of blankets, a block. If you've got throw cushions that you can use to help pack around you to make things more comfortable, go grab those right now. And I see also Christine from Northern Virginia. How's the weather in Virginia today? And Kathleen says she's doing well. I'm doing really good today. The weather has been kind of really weird up here in the north. It seems like we have gone from being cold, which around the freezing mark in the last couple of weeks, to like yesterday it was 80 degrees or 25, 26 degrees Celsius. And now today it's kind of someplace in between and it's thinking about raining. So it's a beautiful day in Connecticut, Connie says. And Dottie is here. Hi, Dottie, from Raleigh, North Carolina. Christine says it is cloudy and cooler, but everything's in bloom. And we're starting to get to that point too. Hopefully the weather will start to warm up and consistently. And then we'll start to see the trees start to pop their leaves very quickly. It's good to see that you're all here, ready to go. We'll give people a few more minutes just to get in and get organized. And if you haven't already signed in, please say hi. Now, hi, Alyssa. Good to see you here. Now, a lot of the ladies here, a few were not, but a lot of them were on the Zoom call we had on Wednesday, and that was fantastic. It was so wonderful. Now that I'm seeing names pop up of people who were on the Zoom call, I know what you look like, and so that's kind of better for my brain to wrap around. Rita Bassett, hello, Rita. Rita's in Cornwall. And Joyce, hi, Joyce. I hope the weather's good in Florida today. And Pat is here, and she's watching on her TV, and she's changed her username. So nice that you're here, Pat. And Louise Simon. Hi, Louise. Louise, it's been a long time since we spoke. Yes, I'm so glad that you and Rita have joined me today. Louise and Rita used to be, well, they probably still are members of the yoga studio that I co-owned in Cornwall, Ontario, Canada. So the weather's good in Cornwall. Oh, that's good. Here it's been beautiful, except for today. It looks like it's going to be a rainy day, but the plants need the rain. It's so exciting to see all of you here joining me today. Be sure you have your gear for yin yoga handy, or things that are passable as substitutes for it if you don't have things like bolsters and snafus and all kinds of good stuff. Blocks can be substituted by some thick books. In the old days, we used to have the big, telephone book. They're not so big anymore. But something hardcover, you can pile up a couple of hardcover books to take the place of a block if you want to. Also, make sure you've got a few throw pillows to tuck in places that might be a little achy today. Hi, Alyssa. Good to see that you're here. And Alyssa is in Thornhill, which is close to the Toronto area of Ontario. And she says it's also looking rainy there too. So wherever your weather is today, I'm so glad you decided to join me for the class today and this afternoon. I need to tell you a little bit of change of schedule. I was supposed to be going on a retreat next week to do some painting up in a cabin in the woods, and it has been canceled because in the area that I'm living, they decided to do another COVID lockdown. So because I had booked this through Airbnb, the Airbnb company has standards around those kind of things, I suppose. So it was canceled because we're not supposed to leave home. We're supposed to stay home and only go out if we have to. The problem being is the area that I'm in, we haven't been able to get a lot of vaccinations happening. So they are very concerned about the buildup of sudden cases that have been of this European version of the COVID-19. So that's kind of sad that I'm not going on my trip. I was looking forward to that. However, that means I have Friday free to do a yoga class. So what I decided to do was, instead of through YouTube, because we test drove a little bit of Zoom the other day when we had our chat on Zoom, I'm going to give the class on Zoom. Now, there's a few positives and negatives about Zoom. But I think the positives outweigh the negative things. The first thing you're going to know is that you need to have a link and a password in order to get onto the Zoom class, which I'm going to provide you with. I will be putting it out in the newsletter, or if you are not getting the newsletter or you didn't get the newsletter this weekend, please let me know by email through northernzenyoga@gmail.com. Or you can go to my website and you can send me a message through there. So, or the Facebook page as well. So you need to get onto Zoom. Now, you don't have to be signing up for anything. You just have to either have the application downloaded to your phone or tablet if you're using those particular devices, or you just go to and open up the Zoom on your laptop. It's a website. You just go there and it'll ask you to join a meeting. And when you join the meeting, you don't even have to do that. You just click the link and the link will take you to the meeting. You just need to know then the password and you'll be able to come into the class. So I want to try it out, and I hope that many of you will be able to join us for that class next Friday. I'll repeat it again on Tuesday. I'm going to send it out in the newsletter, all the information around that, how to get to that point. And the benefit of it is that I get to see what you're doing. Now that kind of maybe will be not a benefit for you because you might not want me to see what you're doing. But the images of you are so small that unless I get up there and I have a quick look and see what everybody is doing, it would be hard for me to have the same experience as I would sitting in a studio. So the other thing you can do if you don't want me to see what you're doing is you can turn your camera off. Now, if you do that, you'll still be part of the class. You'll still see me. You'll still hear me, but we don't have to look at you. The others can't look at you. And not that they will be able to see you during the class time because my image feed will be locked so that nobody else can cough or sneeze or talk, and it pops to them, the image to their face. So it's a lot of fun. Now, we did this on Wednesday just to have a talk. We all had a cup of tea together, and we had a different experience than we have just through the medium of YouTube. And one of the ladies, it was Marcy. I don't think Marcy is on today. She's not She said it had a different energy. It was much more like being in the yoga studio. And actually, most yoga studios now are using this format to bring their yoga classes to the people who otherwise would have showed up at their studio. So I'd like you to try it out, because if it's successful, we might do more of that and less of the YouTube setup. Okay, so I think I've talked enough. Let's start our yoga practice. So what I'd like you to do is set up your area similar to how I've got mine set up here. Now, got my mat at one end. At the other end, I've got my bolster and a blanket. So if you don't have a bolster, that's okay. Just bring your blankets and your pillows down to that end, because we're going, after we do the first part of this practice, we're going to be needing the stuff that's at that end. And then it's convenient for you. You don't have to get up and go look for it. So bring your stuff down to one end of your mat. And on your mat, depending on whether or not you are set up on a carpet with your mat, or your mat is extra cushy, you may want to take your blanket, or take one of your blankets, fold it up so that it is a pad that would fit between your shoulders and your bottom, and lay it in the middle of your mat, so that when you lay down on your back, you have a much softer surface, especially if you've got a hard floor underneath you. I think it would be pretty critical unless you had an extra thick mat. So take a few moments, set all that up, and then you're going to get down onto your back. And when you get on your back, please take a few moments to bring your knees up and roll around on your back, and help your back to feel more comfortable to get into the reclining position. So I'm going to give you a couple of moments to get organized before I begin. I'm not going to be getting down onto the mat immediately. I will eventually. But the beginning part, it's easier for me to sit up and speak than it is to try to speak to you from a laying down position. So set yourself up. I'm going to give you about another 30 seconds to do that, and then we're going to begin. So I just want to say hello to anybody else that checked in here. Dottie says she has a telephone book that's really thick, so it's probably an old one. All right. So make sure you're rolled on your back a little bit, bringing your knees up, hugging them in, and just relaxing your shoulders down to the mat. Get your back nice and soft. Try to melt it down a little bit more. If you need to have a smaller cushion or folded blanket underneath your head for comfort, do that as well. You will be here for the better part of the next 15 minutes. So make sure you're feeling very comfortable. If you're doing this yoga practice from a chair, and from my list here that's showing up, I don't believe anybody is. This particular posture, it can be modified. It would take a lot for me to try to explain to you what to do to modify. So if possible, and you can't get down onto the floor, go lay on your couch or go lay on your bed and do this particular sequence from that position on a mattress or on a comfy couch. Once you're settled down, you want to stretch out completely. Stretch your legs out. And you're going to place your hands, one across your heart and one on your belly. And just breathe here for a moment. Lying on your back, one hand resting across your heart and the other one on your belly. And let's just start breathing and noticing your breath. Don't try to control it. Don't try to force anything. Just take those inhales and exhales in through the nose. And if you feel you need to, exhale through the mouth and release any tension you might feel in your body. Begin to feel your belly moving up and down as you breathe, your chest rising and falling. And as you relax here, breathing, I want you to think of a word that will be a type of mantra for you for this practice. Yin yoga is a very meditative practice, so please use it to your advantage by finding a word that you can say to yourself to help keep you in the moment. It can be any word that's relevant to you. It could be peace, it could be love, it could be the Om, it could be anything. Just use it to help bring you back when your mind starts to chitter chatter while you're resting into the different postures. Now we're going to be holding these for approximately 3 minutes with some movement in between. So you need to really allow yourself to relax into this. Begin to notice your breath deepen, breathing into your belly, letting your belly rise on the inhale. And on the exhale, pushing your belly back down. Inhale through the nose. And let's take a deep exhale through the mouth. Really push that air out. Let's do that one more time. Inhale through the nose, push your belly out. Exhale through the mouth. Allow yourself to relax. Go back to your regular breathing. And we're going to start with your right leg. So you're going to inhale your right leg up toward the ceiling. And I'm going to come down now and join you. So if you need to look at what I'm doing, you can do that, but try to listen to my words instead. So raise your right leg up toward the ceiling. The other knee can be bent if it needs to be, or it can be straight out, whatever feels better for you. If you feel you need a cushion underneath the straightened out leg, you can do that. And we're just going to draw a circle in the ceiling with our big toe. So start out small to begin with. And then you can, if it feels good for you, start to get a bigger circle happening. We're just warming up this hip joint. Then stop and let's go the other direction. Drawing the circle in the opposite direction now. And you can start to make that circle just a little smaller. Now, if you really felt like you needed to, you can hang on to your leg to help keep it up there. And then we're just going to drop our heel down toward our bottom, and we're going to lift our leg up just a couple of times here. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. And then we're going to bring our knee a little closer to our chest. If you can hang on to your leg or the back of your thigh, that's okay. If you can't, just see if you can move your leg around without the use of your hands. And we're just going to use our knee now to draw the circles. So don't go very big. Just start out small at first. And then if your hip allows you to, you can start to make these circles much bigger. Bringing the knee in, across, out to the side, coming back upright, going around in a circle. Stop and let's go the opposite direction. You're going to feel your leg getting a little bit tired, perhaps the muscles starting to talk to you. That's okay. It's a good thing. We're starting to build some muscle strength when we see that happen. And you can get the circle a little bit smaller if you like. And come back to stillness. Now, either grabbing behind your thigh or grabbing your shin, you're going to pull the knee toward the chest and relax. Pull it in and relax. One more. As you inhale, pull it in. Exhale, relax it out. One more time again. Inhale, pull it in. Exhale as you relax it out. So you're going to reach up for your blanket or your bolster or your block, whatever you like, or a pillow. And we're going to guide our leg out as far as we can to the side and just let it rest in an open way. Just let it rest out here. So I'm going to set the timer. Oops. Take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to be here for 3 minutes. So just relax, letting that knee drop down toward the floor. Try to keep both of your cheeks touching on the mat. Don't roll to the side to get the knee closer to the floor. Instead, push down with your hand onto the left hip bone just to keep you stable and let that leg relax out. Remember your mantra. Whenever your mind starts to wander and starts to think about grocery lists, just bring yourself back to calm. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. Feel yourself relax deeper. Take another deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And let it go through the mouth. Very gently help your knee up. Use your hand, bring it back, bring your foot back to the floor, and then slowly slide that leg out till it's straightened out and let it relax. Just notice what you're feeling. Take a few breaths here. We're just going to allow that leg to relax a bit. And now we're going to move to the left leg. So we're going to inhale the left leg up toward the ceiling. Again, if you need to, you can grab the back of your leg or your pants, whatever you're doing, whatever you need to do, strap if you have one. And we're going to draw a circle with our toe on the ceiling. And you can start to make that circle get bigger and bigger every time you go around, if your leg allows. And stop, and let's go the other direction. And come back to stillness. We're going to drop our heel toward our bottom. And we're just going to inhale it up and exhale it back down. You can use your hands to hold and stabilize your leg. Inhale it up. Or if you can do it without, do it without. Exhale it down. Inhale up one more time. Exhale down. And we're going to grab behind our thigh or onto our shin. And we're going to pull our knee toward our chest. And we're just going to do a few pulses here. So we're going to inhale and exhale as we relax. Inhale, pull it toward your chest. Exhale, relax. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Exhale up. Start out small circle first, and then see if you can make that circle just a little bit bigger. Working yourself around. Getting bigger, coming across, up, out, and back. And stop, and let's go the opposite direction. Once again, you might be starting to feel your muscles fatigue. Try to hold in there. And you can start to make those circles just a little smaller each time you go around. One more time, all the way around. And stop. Bring your knee in toward your chest and then guide your leg out to the side. Take your bolster, your blocks, whatever you were using on the right side, flip them over to the left and drop that knee out to the side. Or if you don't feel you need anything, you can just let it relax out as far as you can. As long as you're not feeling pain and you're only feeling the tugging, you're fine. Take some deep breaths here, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Then we'll be on this side for 3 minutes. Make sure both of your cheeks of your bum are on the floor. Don't roll onto the side to get the knee down deeper toward the floor. Just make sure, keep your shoulders and your bottom down. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through your mouth. Remember your mantra. If you find your mind drifting away, take another deep inhale in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Let it go. One more deep inhale, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then very gently guide your leg up by using your hands to help lift the knee up toward the ceiling again, flattening your foot down onto the mat, and then sliding the leg out, stretching it out, and let it relax. We're just going to give it a few seconds here, to just recuperate from the stretch. Letting the hip joint come back. And then I want you to roll onto one side, doesn't matter which, just for a moment. Just take a few breaths here, and then you're going to roll onto your belly, and you're going to bring your blanket or your bolster in front of you. So I'm just going to bring my blanket this time so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to face toward the camera. And you're going to stretch yourself out, bringing your chest down, and your forearms are going to be in front of your chest if you can get them there. If you can't, get them as close as you can. And your hands can be facing forward, or they can be slightly bent toward each other, depending on the comfort of your arms. So you can see me here, yeah. The blanket, you can place this blanket just under your breasts or under your rib cage, whichever is easier. Just for a little extra support here, we're coming into Sphinx pose. So starting out though, we're going to take a deep breath in, exhale. We're going to just bring our head down toward the floor, letting our elbows splay out as we do that. And as we inhale, we're going to bring those elbows back in toward each other, lifting our head up. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, bringing your forehead back toward the floor. Inhale as you come back up again. We're going to do that one more time. So exhaling, inhale. Exhale, slide your elbows away, bring your forehead down. Inhale, bring your elbows back toward each other. Now we're going to stay upright. And we're going to be here for 3 minutes. So I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Let your bottom relax. Try not to be clenching up your bum cheeks. Just let everything relax. Let your heels fall out to the side if they want to. And if you're finding that your back arch is too much, you can bring that blanket forward a little more so that more of your belly will hit the floor and less of an arch in your back. If you want to get more of an arch in your back, bring that pillow or blanket underneath your tummy more so that you're lifting up your rib cage a little bit higher. You can relax your head down, dropping your chin to your chest, or you can keep your chin up. Either one is fine, depending on your neck, how it feels. Let's take another inhale through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Just breathe here. You can do those deep inhales in through the nose and out through the mouth. Anytime if you're feeling tension building up inside your body, if you catch yourself clenching your bottom, relax it. Take a deep breath in, exhaling through the mouth. Slide your blanket or your bolster or whatever you had underneath you away from you. Bring your hands together. Slide your elbows out. Drop your forehead to your hands. And we're just going to rest here with our forehead on our hands for a few seconds. And then we're going to push up, coming up onto our knees, and we're going to come into child pose. So here, if you have a bolster or you have a bunch of pillows or a rolled up blanket that's fairly thick, bring that in front of you, and you can bring your knees either around it, like this, or you can have it just in front of you with your knees toward each other. That will depend on how you feel when you come down toward the bolster or the blanket. The other thing you can do is you can, if you feel getting your head down to the bolster is going to be a difficult thing and you've got a bolster, you can set up like a lazy boy chair. Now I realize most of you do not have a bolster. That's why I usually don't show this particular setup. But if you do, or you have a really strong, thick, dense cushion, you can also use it for that too. But for most of us, we're going to be either using a rolled up blanket or perhaps a block or something. So find something that you can set up. You can even set up a couple of blocks and a blanket over top. And we're going to come down and we're going to be here this time a little bit longer. We're going to be here for 4 minutes. So I'm going to set the timer. Get yourself comfy. If you need to set up your block a different way. And we're going to begin. Coming down onto the bolster if you can. If you can't, you can always come down onto your elbows like this. But try to get comfortable down here. So you're going to be turning your cheek to one side onto the surface, no matter where you are. Make sure periodically you change cheeks. You move your head from one side to the other so that you're not putting all the strain in one direction on your neck. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. At this point, if you want to move everything out of the way, if you think you're able to, come and bring your forehead down to the mat without bringing your bum up. You can do that now. Take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Gently begin to push yourself up to an upright position. And come onto your bottom and sit on your bottom. And stretch your legs out, shake them out. So the rest of the postures we're going to do, they're going to be 4 minutes long now. If you find that the 4 minutes is just a minute too much or 30 seconds too much, feel free to come out of the posture at any time you feel that the discomfort you're feeling is too much for you. So we're going to come into a half butterfly. We're going to hold this for 4 minutes. So remember, in previous classes, I explained to you that I understand that not all of you have the same flexibility. Find your butterfly, whether it's here, whether it's here, whether it's here, looking like this. And if you need to, start to put those things underneath you that you have, like your blankets or your blocks. If you have your leg way up in the air and it's not comfortable, or should not be comfortable, but it shouldn't be painful to have it dropping out to the side. If you're just feeling an intense stretch, I'd recommend that you just leave it, because this is where the stretch is important, in the groin area on this leg, and of course on the hamstrings on the extended leg. Again, if you like, you can bring your blanket and you can put it down here across your knee and relax down, or underneath your chest, depending how low you go. If you're not going very low, you can always tuck it up around your ribs to have something to rest down onto. So let's take a deep breath in. If you like, you can stretch up, reach up, stretch up. And on your exhale, you're bringing your belly down toward your thigh, not your head anywhere. Keep your head up until you find your stopping point. So if you can, straighten out your leg as much as possible. If you've got a little bit of a bend in your leg because the intensity of the hamstring stretch is too much, that's okay. Just remember, as that intense feeling goes away, you need to start allowing it to stretch out a bit more. I'm going to be here 4 minutes, so take that deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Remember your mantra to help keep you focused. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it go through the mouth. Take an inhale through the nose, exhaling through the mouth again. Let it go. As you inhale this time, you're going to push into the floor, lifting your chest up. Exhale as you rise. You're going to bend the knee that you had extended out, and you're going to extend out the leg that you had bent, just to allow the body to recuperate from the stretch. Shake out your leg that was bent. Make sure it's not feeling tense or tight. And just bring the other knee in toward the chest, just to give the hamstring a relaxed state, help it recuperate. And we're going to switch sides in a moment. So if you had to use any props on the left side for your knee, you're going to bring them over to the right side. So this time we're going to be stretching out that left leg, and we're going to be bringing the heel of the right leg in toward the body, coming into the half butterfly on this side. Again, any props you need to use to help make this a little more doable, whether it's under your knee or in front of you, you can put that into place now. Take a deep breath in. Let's stretch it up, stretching up through the rib cage, bringing our belly down toward our thigh. Trying to straighten out the leg that's extended as much as we can, and allowing the bent leg to fall out to the side as much as we can. Take a deep breath in, exhaling through the mouth. And anytime you feel tension building up, just do that. Do that deep breath in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. It is a tension releaser. So use it. Nobody's listening to you moan and groan over there. Take a deep breath in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Take a deep inhale in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Very slowly, you're going to push your hands into the floor. You're going to help to lift your chest up. Use your arms to do this. Walking your hands back toward the body, coming upright. And you're going to bring the extended leg in toward your chest, and you're going to stretch the folded leg out. And if you can grab that leg, hug it in. Good. If not, just make sure it's bent enough that you relax the hamstring. So a big part of yin is stretching the fascia as well as the tendons and the muscles. So these recovery positions we take for 30 seconds or so, they're just to allow everything to sort of come back to where it almost was before. Once you've stretched the fascia and the muscles and the tendons, they never go back exactly as they did before. They're always just a little tiny bit, even if it's a micro bit, looser than they were last time. So we need to allow that recovery time to happen in order for our body to be able to adapt to the next posture and shape we're going to do. So this next shape is a little more intense. So I'm reducing the time down to 2 minutes on this. And I want you to try your best to create this shape. I'm going to show you what the shape looks like, and then I'm going to show you modifications that you can do. So I'm going to begin with my left leg in front of me, and I'm in front of my mat here. And if you're at the top of your mat or you're sideways on your mat, you're going to use the mat edge as your guide to the direction of your leg. So I'm placing my left leg down, heel and knee, trying to meet the floor. Then I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to bring my heel up and I'm going to rest it just off my knee. So it can either be in the crook of your leg, or it can be up onto more on your thigh, but you don't want to rest it right on the edge of your knee. And I'm going to let this leg drop down toward my foot. So I'm just going to sit up a little straighter, and you can see I'm sitting in a kind of a adapted cross-leg position that is called fire logs. Now, for me, because of my years of practicing yoga, this is fairly easy for me to do. If I need to intensify it, I have to start to lean forward and lay down onto my legs to get a more intense stretch. Now, I understand that some of you won't be able to do this, so don't worry, don't freak out. You're going to bring, and I'm going to show you the worst case scenario is this. This might be your fire logs. Ankles crossed, toes trying to touch the floor, knees are up in the air, and if you're feeling your hips talking to you, or your knees talking to you, you're doing it. If you can bring one leg up, even like this, toward the mat, and the other leg is sitting like this, and it's up in the air, but it's free and it's dropping down a little bit, that's it too. This is probably where I started when I did fire logs for the first time. This is probably what I look like because I was very tight in my hips. So I want you to be able to be comfortable enough that you're not in pain, but you're uncomfortable enough that you can feel this stretch in the hips. You're going to feel it mostly in your hip socket. You may feel it also in the groin, and you might feel a little bit of tension up toward the knee, but you shouldn't have any pain in your knees. If you're having pain in your knees, just unbend your knees a little bit and extend out. So even if you're like this, that works too, as long as you're feeling it. If you're feeling nothing in your hips, but your knees are getting in the way, you can even come into this position if you're pulling your heels closer toward your groin. So you're almost in a cobbler pose or a butterfly pose. So find your spot. We're going to be here for 2 minutes. So if you can tolerate 2 minutes of being uncomfortable, not in pain, uncomfortable, then you're doing it. All right, everybody good? I'm just going to set the timer now. And we're starting. So let's take that deep breath in through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. And for you ladies that are looking like me, and this feels really comfy, you can stay here all day, start to bring your belly down into your lap and dropping down your forearms onto the floor. Lots of those deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, breathing right into your hip joints. And if you are bringing your chest down onto your legs, you should make sure that your bottom is still making contact with your mat. Take another deep breath in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Come up very slowly. Use your hands to push you upright if you're leaning forward. If you're not leaning, just unravel your legs very gently. Stretch your legs out. And if you need to, you can rock them or shake them. Give them a few seconds to recuperate from the stretch. And now we're going to switch sides. So if you had the left leg on the floor last time, you're going to be putting your right leg on the floor. If you did it the other way around, you're going to be just switching the direction. So this time I'm putting my right leg down to the floor and I'm picking my left leg up and putting it on the top. Find your position for your stretch. You might want to try on this side to see if you can get into something that looks more like this shape, because each side of our body, each of our hip joints is configured a little differently. So always test it first before you say, oh, if I did it wrong on that side differently, or not wrong, but differently, I probably have to do it on this side too. So always check that first and then modify. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And once again, if you can look like I'm looking right now, it's time to sort of settle down toward the floor and see how it feels on this side. Take a deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it go through the mouth. Use your hands. You're going to push yourself upright if you're leaning over your legs. And then you're going to unravel your legs gently, stretching them out, shaking them out, releasing the muscles. So I hope that wasn't too bad. I like to throw some of the more difficult yin poses at you after we stretch the hip joints. And I would recommend, if you wanted to try this one again, that you always do a few hip stretches like the half butterfly before, or even a couple more, before you begin to try to put yourself into that intense of a hip stretch, just to make sure that your hips have loosened up a little bit. So now you can come down onto your mat for Shavasana. So find your way down, grab your blanket, put something behind your head, not too high when you have that pillow behind your head, remember. Maybe only a couple of inches high, just for your back of your head to rest on, just so your neck doesn't feel like it's throwing back too far. You can put your bolster or a rolled up blanket or all your extra cushions under your knees, so your knees are slightly bent. That always feels good for your low back. And get yourself into your comfortable Shavasana posture. If you like, you can spread your legs out, spread your arms out, take up lots of space. And once you get there, take lots of those deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Letting your body melt down into the mat. Each breath, feel your body relax deeper. Feel it go deeper into the mat. Feel it make more contact overall with your mat. As you melt down and relaxed into your Shavasana. Let your legs relax. Let your arms relax. Let your fingers curl up. So let your palms face upwards so your fingers can curl gently. Let your jaw relax. Just let it relax and take another deep breath in through the nose, exhaling through your mouth. And then let your breath start to relax. Take your focus away from it. And I want you to imagine that you're floating. You're floating on a beautiful raft of golden light. And that raft is floating on a beautiful turquoise lagoon. Beautiful blue-green sea color. And it's floating so gently, just rocking very gently with every ripple that passes it. Feel yourself just relaxing even deeper. Feel yourself floating in the warm sun on your face and a light breeze. Gently floating. As you float here, think of places in your mind where you feel at peace and allow yourself to spend some time there. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, bringing yourself back to your mat. And give yourself a nice stretch, full body stretch. Stretch it out. And bring your knees up. Give yourself a big hug. And just take a moment just to thank your body. Thank you for everything that it does for you every day. And then gently roll over to one side. It doesn't matter whichever side feels most natural for you. Just roll over and just take a few more moments there. Don't rush from this. Take those moments. They're yours. Nobody demanding anything from you. Take a few breaths here, enjoying this. Noticing how you feel and what you feel. And then very slowly, just make your way up to a seated position. close our class. We'll close our class today by chanting Om. So we'll take a breath in and out first, and then we'll inhale for Om. And remember, it doesn't matter if it's a good Om or a bad Om or a squeaky Om. Just let yourself go. Let's take an inhale, exhale. Inhaling for Om. Rub your hands together, generating some heat, some prana, some chi, whichever you want to call it. And as you do this, think of the place inside that we stretched today. You can probably feel it right now as you're sitting in your easy pose. Close your eyes, place your palms over your closed eyes, and when you open them, breathe in. Sending that energy right down into that spot, and when you exhale, palms to ceiling, sending the energy out to the universe. Scoop up a little bit though. Bring it back to your heart center. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Now, as I do with every class, if you have questions about anything we did or concerns, or if you felt something you shouldn't have felt, you can go into the chat and you can ask me right now, because I will give you the time to do that, and then I'll answer the question, because you never know if other people are wondering the same thing too. So don't be shy. So I'm hoping that I will see all of you next Friday on Zoom, and we'll try that out and see if it's a lot of fun. I think it will be. I think you'll like it. It will feel much more like being in the studio. You'll have a time at the beginning of the class to say hi to the other students and see the faces that you've often probably heard with the names. That's one of the great things we found today, is that, on the Zoom on Wednesday, is that people were used to seeing names come up on the chat. Now they can put a face to that name. So it's a great thing to do it that way. The other thing too is you can always turn your camera off if you don't want to be seen. And at the end, we can have a little bit of a chat time together before we close off. So it would be a different experience, but I think you'll like it. Okay. Rita Ascend, thank you. Thank you for joining us, Rita. Remember, before you go today, guys, push the like button. Make sure you say you like it. A lot of you are dropping away already, but make sure you say you like it. YouTube, for some reason, loves you to have lots of likes. Any questions today? I hope you enjoyed the class. We stretched pretty intensely around the hip area, so you might feel it tomorrow. If you do, or even later today, make sure you take care of yourself properly. It's expected to feel discomfort after yin. It's not a practice that is something that you wouldn't feel unless you've been doing this a long time. And even I feel it for a while afterwards. Joyce says, when we did the butterfly and the following pose, could I use my bolster to sit on? Of course. Yes. If you find that that's more comfortable for you to get into that, definitely. That's what these props are here for. And I apologize that I didn't suggest you sit up on something. So yeah, anything that you can do to help make that pose possible, use it. And as long as you're feeling something, like that's the key thing. If you get too comfortable and you're not feeling anything, then you need to modify that, because the whole purpose of being into the yoga postures is that you feel an uncomfortable stretching happening. Thank you, Alyssa. Alyssa just says, great class. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you're sitting on the floor, of course, your knees are going to be in a little bit different level than it would be if you were sitting up on a cushion a little higher, Alyssa. So yeah, definitely use a bolster. Or sorry, Joyce. Oh, thank you, Louise. Louise says she loves doing yin with me. She used to be always in my yin classes when I was teaching in the studio I had down in Cornwall. So I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I am. I'm glad that you are participating. You can join us anytime. Anytime. Any other questions or anything you want to say about the Zoom experience that we're looking at doing? Positive, negative? Yeah, Joyce says that she often feels the effects of yin the next day, and that's normally when you would feel it. Sometimes you'll feel it right away, but normally when your muscles have had some time to relax, the next day is when you feel it in the joint. Now, don't be afraid of that. A lot of people are afraid of the fact that they felt their yoga or their yin yoga experience the next day. That's a good thing. That's actually telling you that something woke up, that muscles are waking up, muscles have been used, muscle tissue is being built. It's a good experience to feel that, as long as you're not in excruciating pain. Excruciating pain in general is the indicator that you've done damage. Achiness is not. You have not damaged yourself by feeling achiness in your joints. For example, yesterday I must have walked 5 kilometers altogether throughout the day. I kept going for these long walks. It was such a beautiful day. And by the end of the evening, I was feeling it in my hip joint, in my back, because I had walked so much, more than I was used to, because all winter, we don't walk quite as much because it's like so cold. You can't be outside for very long. Rita says she loves Zoom classes. Are you doing Zoom, Rita, at Spirit Tree? If you can answer that back, if you haven't left yet. A lot of people like Zoom because it's almost like the studio experience. And I know there's a level of lack of anonymity if you're on a Zoom class, but most of you that have been taking my live classes at the live period, not the people who watch them after the fact, you have got to know each other in a kind of indirect way. So it's just taking it to a more personal level. Anyway, I don't know if Rita heard me ask that question, but okay, I've got an answer now. She's not doing it at Spirit Tree, but she's doing it in with other athletic groups that she's joined. And Pat says that yin always helps her hips and her sacroiliac joint. The sacroiliac, if you don't know what it really is, because it's one of those words that we kind of just say, and we think, oh yeah, it's got something to do with your back. It's actually this little joint that's in your hip, and it's the joint where the sacral bone structure, which is the base, the very, very tailbone base of your spine, is in the hip structure. And the big hip bones, the ones you can feel here, if you grab them on the side, they have, they're big flat bones, and they have this little joint with a lot of muscles and tendons that connect it to the sacral part of your spine, which is the very flat part. If you put your hand right between the crack of your bum, and you just come up an inch or so above it, and you press your knuckles in there, that's your sacral area. And the 2 little joints on the side, because they have so much muscle, tendons, ligaments, all keeping that part of the spine very stable and hinged to the part of your hips that connect to the legs, they often have difficulty with being pinched or being out of alignment, because their alignment is very delicate. And people, especially if they have a little bit of a misalignment of the length of their legs, even can affect that. So this little joint called the sacral iliac joint is one that has to be taken care of. We need to make sure it's good, it's strong, and it's not abused. Patricia. Hey, hello, oh my gosh, I just forgot my Spanish. Yes, that's what I was saying. Rita says you can turn your camera off if you don't want people to see you doing your yoga practice, and that's okay. But the way that I'm going to set it up is so that the main image you're going to see is when we start the actual practice is me. There'll be little tiny pictures across the top. You won't be able probably to see them very well at all at a distance if you're on your mat and you're doing your yoga practice. So that you'll be there and you can turn your camera off then if you don't want me to see you in order to be able to help you with any adjustments. But you can turn it back on when you want to be social with the group before and after the class. So either way you want to do it, your camera can be off. I will automatically turn your audio off before I begin the practice so that any noises that are made in your home are not going to interfere with the practice. So you don't have to worry about that. But it's a lot more like being there. Patricia, if you see her in the chat, she is a yoga teacher in Spain who I have been made friends with. And they have a Zoom meditation meeting usually once a month. It's at certain times of the moon. Anyway, that's when they set it up for. And there's ladies from all over the Spanish world. And then there's me. And I don't speak Spanish. And I'm looking forward to the next one because the whole thing is going to be in Spanish. There won't be any English unless they feel like they have to talk to me in English. But for the purpose of the meditation, it will be in Spanish, and I'm just going to just live with the ambience because that is the beautiful thing about Zoom is that you still get the energy of the people. So I'm not seeing anything more coming up as far as questions go. And as much as I could stay here forever and chat with you guys, I'm going to have to say goodbye now. And I want to thank you again for being here and joining the class. And make sure you say you like this before you leave if you can. And I'll see you Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So depending on where you are in the world, your timing may be different. So make sure you remember that it's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard or New York time. The class is on Tuesday. And Tuesday, what are we doing Tuesday? Tuesday, we are doing a gentle flow class. So if you're liking those flow classes that are nice and gentle and in a continuous moving, join me for it. I'll be looking forward to seeing you then or hearing from you then, okay? Bye for now. Love you all. Have a great weekend. See you next time.